What's up, guys? Welcome back to Built by Bailey's. Okay, so this video is going to be about prepping and cutting on shipping containers, meaning two things. I'm going to show you what I think is the best way to actually cut the corrugation in any section of the container that you're going to fabricate, and I'm also going to show you how to properly prep the containers so you can do some of your fabrication, whatever site you're at, correctly. One of those things being how to level a container, because I know a lot of people are out there working on them and they're not actually getting the container level on the ground. And if you don't have a level container, you can't properly frame a container, you can't properly run plumbing, electrical, all of that stuff. If you don't have a set point, you don't have a given point that's level and plumb, everything is going to be out of whack, especially when you go to set it on your permanent foundation. And it's something I don't think has been addressed very well on YouTube for as far as I can tell. So I want to make sure you guys understand that, and I want to make sure that I can at least get a good video out to you on doing those things. I'm going to show you what we use to cut on these containers and how we use to cut them precisely, and I think it's a pretty easy way. It's a cold cut blade. We're using a big worm drive saw or a demo saw with a cold blade on it, and we're using metal as a track with magnets to set us up to make our big cuts. Some of the cuts we can do freehand, but the bigger cuts we're using this system, which is that blade, that saw, and the steel that we use with magnets involved, basically as a track saw on the container itself. And I'm going to show you how to level everything out. Fairly simple. So let's go out, let's meet Jeremy at the shop, and let's get going on this whole thing. Okay, first things first, yes, we have a forklift, yes, we have a laser level. I know you may not have these things. You can still use this process to level out your containers. We use the forklift on the front end to lift up those two corners up front on the door side to get our material in to level out the first two corners, as you can see here. Once we had those in place, using our laser level, measuring corner to corner, we went back to the back end of the container and actually used a pallet jack to level off the back two corners as well. Remember, we want to make sure our corners are level from one end to the other, and we want to make sure that we're running the 40-foot or 20-foot level and making that plumb and level as well, because that makes sure that our walls and our floor are both ready to go for fabrication. Okay, once we had our corners matched up at 2.5 inches, within an 1/8 of an inch threshold, we went ahead and moved to the back of the container using the pallet jack, and we started leveling those two corners up from one end to the other. Then we go back and we check all of our numbers to make sure nothing's moved, slipped, sunk as we're sitting on dirt. These are not permanent footings or foundation members, so we make sure we have that all dialed in. I used a 4-foot level and an 8-foot level as well to check those numbers. And as you can see here, we use the pallet jack to get it going. Then I come back in and I check those numbers in the corners. And I want to make sure that I have those numbers dialed in before we start any sort of fabrication, including cutting any windows or doors out, because again, we have to level our track based on the container being cut. And as you can see here, I checked that number once, then realized, whoops, he hadn't dropped the back of the container yet.
Yes, sir. What? We are, yeah.
Okay, so now that the container one, has been leveled, we can go ahead and actually start laying out our doors and windows and all the cuts we're going to have on this first container. That allows me to then also come in and start being able to frame up the furred out walls with a completely level container and a given point to start from. If you don't level these containers, you're not going to have a given point of level and plumb, and it's going to screw up your entire wall. And I've seen this a lot. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, and it's really interesting to think that you can just set a container anywhere on dirt and go ahead and start building stuff if you're not plumb and level. That's stuff you have to remember to do as you proceed and and fabricating these containers. So, like I said, now that we're all good to go, next step is we're going to cut out this back panel for the first container for the plans, and then I'm going to start at the same time laying out all the windows on this wall to go ahead and mark everything for our rough openings and start cutting everything out and get a little airflow in there, because man, every piece of me is sweating now. Okay, next step in the process, now that we're level, is to take our 2x4 steel tube that we're going to use for our track, our saw track, and we're going to grab our magnets and clamps. We're going to go ahead and set level at the bottom of the container and cut the bottom first. So, just like anything else, you'd pull number one into the other. I can go ahead and grab the level out that 2x4 steel tube, go ahead and grab the magnets that have the clamps on them, and these magnets each have a rating of over 150 pounds each, so they're not going anywhere, and they certainly will hold up this steel track for us. Once that steel track is in place, we can go ahead and plunge cut with our saw and our cold cut blade and start running that saw right along that steel tubing, just like a track saw you would use to cut wood or anything else. So you can see here, we're running our saw, cutting through the steel. This blade will actually plunge all the way through the depth, even to the metal at the bottom of the container itself and in the hooks as well. So most of that work was done for us. There was no need to go back and cut all those hooks out and grind almost nothing at this point. Most of it's gone. Once you get the bottom cut, run to one of the sides, do the same process, set the steel tubing up, and go ahead and then cut the other side out. Set your steel tube, again, using measurements and a level, because the box itself is level and plumb. Run the saw against your steel tube, again, using the magnets to clamp it in place, and bingo, bango, bongo, you've got three sides cut. Once you have almost all the three sides cut, you will need to come back with a sawzall and some metal blades to kind of cut those corners out, because this saw, just like a skill saw of any kind, is not able to cut all the way into the corner. So we have to go ahead and use the finish cut with a reciprocating saw of some sorts. All right, you can see here the magnets at the bottom of that 2x4 steel tube and our clamps. Once we got our cut going, we actually wanted to double check that that steel tube was in place. And to make sure, so you can see it's kind of getting windy on us, we wanted to actually kind of just secure that steel tubing with no deflection as the saw was moving across it. So we went ahead and reset the metal tubing and then clamped the corners, which is not a bad idea at the top, especially when you're working against the roof. You just want to prevent anything from trying to wiggle on you and move as you're cutting, because again, you're using the steel tubing as your guide or your track saw, so you want to be as precise as possible with your cut, so you don't come back later and have to do any sort of finish cut or extra grinding. No need to do extra work with this. The process is supposed to be designed to be clean, easy, simple, and fast, and so once we got this process going on the first couple sides, it was pretty easy to set up and take down. Okay, before finishing up those corner cuts using the reciprocating saw, we actually decided, or Jeremy decided actually, it was his idea, to set up some pick points at the top of the container corrugated wall here. And reason being, I hadn't cut on these before, and I wanted to make sure that nothing was going to kick out on us or do anything silly where we're cutting those corners out and something kicks out and pops out and God forbid someone gets smacked in the face. So what we did was set a pick point up, use the forklift to kind of hold that wall in place, so when that container wall popped, it didn't pop in anybody's face or foot or anything else. Reason being, normally I'm the one that ends up getting hurt on the experimental construction projects such as this, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't get slapped in the face. So, especially Jeremy, don't want to get him hurt. He's a good asset to our team, a great metal worker, actually a really good carpenter, and a hell of a journeyman electrician, to be honest with you. Skills of all trades, so to speak, with Jeremy. But we got the pick point set up, and then we went ahead and finished our cuts, let that thing pop out. And then the other reason was it was really easy to carry this thing back over and set it on the trailer, get it out of the way. We may or may not use the corrugated sheets once we cut them out for later accessory items or any sort of other projects. So didn't want to just cut this thing into a million pieces and get out of here. I want to save it for later. If I got an idea or someone else has got an idea, then we have it available. So that's what we did. That's why I used the forklift. Again, you don't have to. It actually didn't kick out hardly at all on us. And if you want to finish those cuts from the inside, it's a better way to do it as well. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Up next, I'm going to show you how to build your metal frames for your doors and windows, how to easily set those in place, and how to prep those openings to accept a wood buck or a steel buck to install windows and doors. Thanks for watching.